James Carmody with Synergy One Lending. I've been a mortgage advisor for 20 years. Started back in 2003. And what I wanted to share with you guys today was actually my personal wealth journey. I think you'll find it very valuable, as well as some tips on what to do, as well as some tips on what not to do. So I think first, you got to set kind of a good foundation, and you've got to have some good pillars backing you up financially as you continue to build your future and kind of what's next for you. So first, at a very basic level, I think you've got to have at least 3 months to 6 months cash reserves that you have in a liquid account, a money market account, or a savings account at all times backing you up. Once you get to that 3 to 6 month mark, and that's 3 to 6 is really a personal preference on your comfort level, your personality, how much confidence that gives you going out into the marketplace, taking other risks. So 3 to 6 months, what it costs to be you, your monthly bills each month in a liquid account, money market or savings. You can shop around online. I think places like NerdWallet, Bigger Pockets are pretty good to find who's got the best money market rates, savings accounts, things like that. Once you've got that liquid cash reserves, then you want to start to look at, okay, what is my first property that I'm going to buy? And, when we're young and we're growing, you got to start with a primary residence. Now, the cool thing when you buy a primary residence is you can put as little as 3.5%, 5% down if you are eligible for a VA loan. If you're active duty or reserves or a veteran, you may be able to qualify for a 0 down VA loan, which is fantastic. If not, look at 3% down conventional or 3.5% down FHA. You may be eligible for down payment assistance, where you can actually get that down payment and some or all of your closing costs covered. But then you can get into a property and you're getting a return on the whole property. So I'll give you a quick example. Let's say you go to buy a $400,000 condo, 3% down is $12,000. and you've got $8,000 in closing costs. Maybe that's 20 grand, right? That property goes up by, say, 5% conservatively. So let's say 400 becomes 420. You put in 20. How much money did you make on your cash? 100%. So that's a massive return. So that's really the beauty and the strength of real estate as a leveraged investment. Once you've got your first primary, then you want to think about, okay, now what's next? We've got some liquid reserves. We've got a primary residence, stepped over retirement accounts. I hope it goes without saying, but I think it's really, really important that if you have access to a 401k, that you're contributing to that, because that's pre-tax money. It's almost like having tax-free money because it's pre-tax. If your company is set up in a way where you get a match for your contribution, definitely take advantage of that, because that is just getting money from the company back to you. Other accounts that I really like are a Roth IRA, an individual retirement account, where you're putting in post-tax money, meaning money from your net pay, but then you withdraw that tax-free once your retirement age. When we record this, at 62 and a half without penalty. That could change depending upon when you're watching this video. Let's recap so far kind of where we're at. 3 to 6 months liquid reserves in a money market or savings account, primary residence with a low to no down payment, fine print, provided you're cool with the monthly payment and can afford it, right? But we want that leveraged investment to start working for you. Maxed out retirement accounts, 401k, Roth IRA. If you're self-employed, a SEP IRA, but having those retirement accounts. So now we've got 3 different buckets going for us. Next, I think you want to look at the stock market. Warren Buffett, arguably the best investor of all time, swears by the S&P 500, which for the last 100 years has done 9%. If it's good for a guy like Warren Buffett, it's good for you and I. You can buy the S&P 500. SPY is one ticker symbol. Another one is VOO. You can open up an online account with one of the, wirehouses, whether it be E-Trade, Schwab, TD Ameritrade. I personally like E-Trade. I've just had it since I was a teenager. It's really user-friendly, but look at a brokerage account and start to look at investing in the S&P 500. The S&P 500, it's 500 American companies. So if you're betting on America, you're betting on USA, that is a really good investment. And some companies are going to go up some days, some are going to go down, but the average for the last 100 years is 9%. And you can invest in that with little to no cost. Next, I would look at what are 5 companies that you understand that you would invest in, right? What are companies that you use, that you invest in or shop with? You like to wear Nike shoes and apparel. Nike, great company, been around a long time. Maybe you own an iPhone, Apple, juggernaut. That stock is like fantastic. You can look at oil stocks, Chevron, Exxon Mobil, but find 5 6 stocks that you know about, you understand. Like, don't invest in stuff you don't get. I've definitely done that and I've lost my butt. It's not cool. It sounds cool, but it's not smart. Play it safe. So companies you understand. Let's recap again. So we've got liquid 3 to 6 months of reserves. We've got a primary residence. We're maxing out our retirement account. We're investing in the S&P 500. And then we've got 5 stocks and companies that we know and understand. Next bucket, I would come back to real estate and look at buying your first rental property. Now, much longer video, but from a house hacking standpoint, you've had that primary for a little bit. If you've been in there for 12 months, you can go buy another primary, convert that primary to a rental property, buy another one with low money down. Now you've got 2 properties that are growing and appreciating for you. Then from there, I'll share some of my personal journey, some of the things that I did and didn't do. What I just gave you was like, if I had to do it all over again, I think the perfect blueprint that's safe and you're going to get really good returns and you're diversified across different assets. When I was younger, I was with a group, we were flipping properties in Houston, and we were actually buying properties after one of the hurricanes in the suburbs of Houston that had only flooded like 1 to 1.5 feet of water. So there wasn't too much renovations to do. And we did 17 flips over the course of 4 years. And it was really good until it got really bad. The lesson in that, I didn't live there. I wasn't boots on the ground. I was trusting that team, and then that team made some choices that I didn't agree with. And unfortunately, it actually like ruined the relationships. So I don't advise that. Do what you want, but learn from my story. You got to do with what you're comfortable with. And I think in the beginning, when you're building, if you're not boots on the ground, you can't see it, touch it, go check it out, and have face-to-face conversations with the people you're investing with. I'd avoid it. You know, so that might be a lesson in what not to do. Was I young and it sounded cool and sexy and was fun to share with friends? But did I ultimately just like break even at the end after all of those investments and properties? Yeah. So not really worth it for all the time that I lost doing other stuff. I really like second homes. Second and third homes that you can use as Airbnb. During COVID, my wife and I bought a property in my hometown back in Massachusetts on a river, on 3 acres, about a mile downriver from the ocean. And that is a home that we will pass on to our children. It'll be a legacy property. We were able to buy it. It was a complete shell, build it out. We used a loan program where we could leverage as little as 10% down. So we used Synergy One's money to finance the renovations. That property is up about 40% in value since we bought it 2 years ago. And it's custom. Like, we made the whole thing and it's fantastic. And I've got friends and family that want to use it, and it'll generate income from Airbnb and VRBO, not to mention the tax advantages, right? So I think having a second home or summer home that you will use sometime so you can make sure it's your style and everything works the way you want, and then get some of that short-term rental income is a really great strategy. Now, I'll share 2 others and then we'll kind of wrap up and conclude here. Investment properties. There are great programs where you can put down 15%, 20, 25%. Finance some of the renovations if you're buying a property that is distressed. I bought plenty of those recently where they need a little bit of TLC. I was able to include renovation funding in the purchase, in the acquisition, get a crew in there, renovate it, refinance it, take money out, put it back in my pocket. That is tax-free when you do that cash out refi, by the way, and then put a tenant in there. And the tenant's now paying the mortgage. And I get all the tax benefits, the depreciation, cost segregation, all of the wonderful benefits of being a landlord. Yeah, I think real estate is just fantastic in a home run, but you've got to fill the other buckets along the way, and almost first, in my opinion, before you just really jump in. Last, in massive disclosure, I'm learning this and by no means an expert, but I do think cryptocurrency has a place in people's portfolio. I do think that it's undeniable. I don't think it's going away. I think governments, yes, they're figuring out how to tax it, how to regulate it, all of those things. But if you look at like a Coinbase that's regulated by the SEC, okay, cool. If it's good enough for the SEC, I'd take the risk in investing in buying coins there. How wild you get with your range of coins is up to you, but I think something, you know, things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, Ripple, like some of the kind of major altcoins and projects aren't too risky and can have massive returns. You know, as I'm recording this video, you know, crypto, Bitcoin specifically is up 50% in 6 weeks, year to date. That's fantastic. But with the good comes the bad. You're going to be able to stomach that. Another not to do, don't buy cryptocurrency on Christmas Eve in 2017 like I did the first time, and bought it at 15 and then it went to like 4 a few months later, and I panicked and I sold it all. I didn't know what I was doing and I didn't know what it was. So again, like, make sure you research and you know what you're doing and you invest in stuff that you understand, because like all investing has risk associated with it. But I think crypto has a place in people's portfolios. There's, you know, big downside, there's big upside. So you got to kind of measure and figure out, okay, how much am I willing to risk on something that hasn't fully been proven largely over time yet? So let's recap, and then I'll wrap up, kind of my personal wealth journey that I'm going through and what I'm continuing to go through and be a student of, and some do's and don'ts. Again, I think you got to have 3 to 6 months of liquid cash in a money market account or savings account. Research online where you can get a good interest rate on those. Having a primary residence with very low down so you get the leverage, and getting that return is key. Not to mention the tax benefits of property tax deduction, mortgage interest, all of those things. Maxing out retirement accounts, 401k, IRA, Roth IRA, SEP IRA if you're self-employed. And then from there, looking at, okay, what does a second home look like that you might short-term rent and get some benefits of usage as well as income. Then look at investment properties, possibly, buy, renovate, rehab, refinance, and repeat, and then crypto. So kind of covered a wide range, but I think if you are slow, methodical, and thoughtful in your approach, you can kind of fill those buckets over time. And then I think you're really well diversified. I think you've got some risky stuff, some not risky stuff. And I think you can get some really great returns building a portfolio like that. That certainly worked for me, and I'm continuing to learn, and I'm a student of the game every day. And, I try and learn from my mistakes. So don't buy crypto on Christmas Eve. Don't flip properties in neighborhoods that you don't understand. Yeah, those are the 2 big ones for now. I'll let you know in the subsequent video. But I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Again, sharing my 20-year journey in the mortgage business, and an investor doing some really well, doing some not so well. But if you like this, subscribe to the button, comment, share it, keep your eye for more videos.